It's 11:11. I'm your host, Jedi, and this is the gorgeous
Anna.
Rocklina. So we had to do executive decisions, and they Jewed us on Jewfish Bay. It was literally only 3 to 4 foot deep, so not enough for boat, even though the charts are showing it 6 to 8 at low tide. And yeah, so you're just like, it is what it is. They've got too many Democrats in the town. We'll see what we can do to fix it, kick them out, get rid of all the illegals in Key West so it doesn't look like a third world country anymore. But it's fun. We're in a better spot here on the west side.
Thank you. Yes,
You
so
can
guys,
see-
this is beautiful. This is so beautiful.
Yeah, completely different than the west side of town.
Hundreds of boats, and there's also a party boat, and absolutely.
So today is the moment you all been waiting for, and we'll give a couple people here just a moment get on the Escape the Matrix. This is what we told you we'd talk about, and we're coming from you live here in Key West, Florida, aboard Driftwood. And the reason we chose Key West is because of the Conch Republic. It was supposed to be, the narcos for the government had shut down the highway and was trying to check every vehicle for drugs and illegals, which is still a violation of your privacy and stuff like that. Government has no right to do that, and especially shutting down highways. So they used, I thought it was a French baguette, but talking to more locals, it was actually a Cuban baguette. So it just didn't have the grooves and twists like the French baguette would. Hit an officer over the head, declared war. They're going to secede from the United States, and then surrendered and requested $1 billion in foreign aid. So got to give them some props for all that. So that's why we chose Key West as a stock point. It's also the southernmost point. It's like right at the edge of the country. It's as far away as you can go without leaving America. So, and right now it's a new moon, which means it's a time for new beginnings. So can feel the wind, the sun, hear the waves, slapping on the hull, and just take a nice deep breath of that salty, sweet air. It feels different out here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Lighter, freer, like your chest opens up a little bit. The horizon goes on forever. Before I get too deep into this, I'll do Q&A at the end of the first part of the talk. Yeah, question and answer after I'm doing the talk. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them. I've actually spent months writing this speech. So as you can see here, the horizon goes on forever. This is what freedom feels like. Now listen closely. I'm not a guru. I'm not a master. I'm not above you. I'm not here to save you. You got to save yourself. I'm a sovereign human being just like you. That means I'm the boss of me, and I believe you are the boss of you. But you probably don't feel like a sovereign boss of yourself right now, do you? And those of you that do, that's awesome. You're going to love this even more as things go on.
Yes.
So, but for most of you, you feel tired, you feel worried, you wake up and your chest feels heavy like the weight of the world is pushing down on you. You work hard to earn a living, then the government takes half your money. And the other half they inflate away with money printing, which the Federal Reserve just started again, and it's accelerating. The government money printing, bad. That means there's more money in existence, so every dollar you have is worth less. Say you had a Benjamin $100 bill back in 1971 when Nixon took us off the gold standard, you have a $10 bill now. That's how bad it really is. There's different metrics you can measure it, but you've lost 90 to 99% of your purchasing power. That's why you have to have two people working nowadays. Because the inflation causes the prices to go up on everything. It's not mean, greedy business owners. They operate on margins because they actually understand how money works. So they know they have to keep certain percentages of profit or they go under. Like grocery stores, have a 2 to 3% profit margin. So, out of every dollar, they make 2 to 3 pennies. That's it. And then you also have, the food and water are, pretty much fake nowadays or outright poison. And the air feels heavy. We have wars around the world that we didn't support to, build fear of the future into you and waste more of your money so there's more inflation. It's like you're running a race, but someone keeps moving the finish line further away.
Always.
So, and I want to tell you something true. It is not your fault. You cannot win a rigged game. The land is their house, their rules, their taxes, their borders, their poisoning of the food, the water, and the air. We'll get into that in a bit.
Okay.
So, it's not your fault that the game is rigged. You can't win a rigged game. You cannot be truly free on land where you're paying property tax. Basically, you're paying rent to the government. The land is their house, their rules, taxes, government spying eliminates your privacy.
Yeah.
Borders that crush you. But out here on the water, once you get 200 miles from shore, that is international waters. That is God's house.
It feels freer, even freer than this.
That is a free jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Here's the big truth. The one thing that makes everything easy. You cannot be truly free unless you live in a free jurisdiction. Let me say that again. You cannot be truly free unless you live in a free jurisdiction because you don't own the land if you're paying taxes to the government.
Yeah.
Now, if I can show you that the concept of New Atlantis is the only safe, strong, sovereign place to live, and if I can prove to you that it's safe, then the only thing left to do is, get on a boat and sail to the New World. Okay. We'll get there. And would you grab me my blocks for a moment, love?
Oh, yes.
I forgot to bring those up. This has got to have good partners that you're working with. So, now you probably wonder who's this alchemist Jedi guy who, brought you here today. I've had an eventful life. At 5, my dad taught me how to meditate and started teaching me native wisdom. By 7, I was helping put my first roof hammer and the shingles on a house. I cut off my tongue at 8, forcing an involuntary vow of silence for a few months. I'll spare you the gory details on that. You can read more about it in my book, Alchemy the Master's Path, which I can get you for free at alchemythemasterspath.com. And while I had that time, I read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica from A to Z, the Bible, and the dictionary from A to Z. Just the blocks, nothing else. Just the blocks. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, no, don't need any of that. So that really inspired my desire to learn as much as possible. I studied all the major sciences, physics, medicine, mathematics. Got to travel the country, have a blast. And then in 2018, I was a vendor at a holistic fair where I met, pulled down my glasses, looked her in the eye, and we sang. So together we built a successful real estate investment business. Then we sold our home and bought this beautiful 50-foot yacht.
Wait, what was that thing?
Okay. Now focus. Yes, I'm talking here to the public.
No.
Okay. Now we're traveling the world and spreading the message of freedom to build a world where we can all thrive instead of just fighting to survive. Now, I wasn't always a captain, and I know what it feels like to be trapped. Now, let me tell you a story. When I was 16 years old, I felt like giving up on life. And just like you might feel right now. I looked at the adults around me. They look gray. They look sad. Basically half dead. They had jobs they hated. Taxes were breaking their backs, and the joy was just leaking out of them. And it's even worse for people now than it was, 30 years ago, back when I was 16.
People work many jobs,
Yeah.
4 people, technically.
Yeah. So I thought, is this it? Work, pay taxes, and die? My scroll screamed, no!
No.
So I ran away from the noise. I went deep into the woods, and I went on a traditional Native American vision quest. Now, this is not a vacation, a retreat, or a game. This was serious, dangerous soul work. It started with 7 days fasting on water. So all we got was some liquid. Today it's lemonade that she made with fresh squeezed lemons. Thank you,
Fresh
love.
in the morning. You're welcome, sweetie. You're welcome. Yes, I squeeze the lemons, honey, some salt, yes, water.
So after the 7 days fasting on water, it was followed by a sweat lodge, which is like a 160-degree steam room that they kept me in for hours, bringing me nearly to the point of collapse. And when I had horrible allergies and asthma, like that was a really intense thing for me. I barely made it through that.
Mm-hmm.
Then afterwards, they rip open the sweat lodge and, had to jump in a lake, and now you're cleansed and you're ready for the real ritual torture. So I had to walk deep into the woods. I took a stick and drew a circle around me. You were taught to stay in the circle for your safety. I learned later, people who don't stay in the circle usually end up dead. And even back in the day, it was only about a 50% people who actually even survived through the ordeal, whether they had a vision or not. So the next 4 days was a dry fast. No food, no water. Just me in the nature, sitting on the dirt with the trees, the sky, and Creator, what many of you call God. So I was praying with my prayer pipe, asking Creator to show me a vision of what to do with my life. My body hurt, my throat was dry like sand. I could barely sit there. And right as we're getting to sunset on the 4th day, I'm like, I'm done. I'm over. I feel like I'm going to take my last breath. And it's like, Creator, I've given my all for this. And I'm like, and just as I think I'm taking my last breath and I'm gone, bam, a vision hits me like lightning. I see, all kinds of different shapes and colors, and I get to see, the whole universe was a circle, and everything is connected, and everywhere is a center. That we are all one, that Creator and creation are one. And then I saw islands, but not these, small little dirt islands I showed you earlier in the video. I saw islands floating on the ocean. Bright white, strong. They were shaped like honeycombs. The hexagon bees make, nature's strongest shape. Later, I would come up with the name, the HIP system, my hexagonal interlocking pillars, which you can see a miniature of here. But I'll get into that more later. So I saw families laughing. I saw clean waters flowing out the sides of a golden pyramid. Pure food grown in towering buildings. I saw clean power coming from the sun and the waves. I saw people who were sovereign. They were happy. No one was stealing their money. There was no deep state feeding on their fear, anxiety, and doubt to keep the people weak and controlled. Yeah, it was literally a paradise. So Creator whispered inside of me, build this. This is the new world. This is the next step of the American dream. But I was young. I got scared. I didn't think anybody could do this. So I went back to the real world. I took those soul-sucking jobs I hated. I kept learning and growing. But, I let the government steal from my paycheck. Remember, taxation is theft.
Every month. I don't know where the money is still. Somewhere out there, supposedly pension. What's it called? Okay, go on. I apologize.
Yeah. So I let the Matrix drain my energy. It almost killed me. You know, staying on land felt like a slow death. And I've literally come back from the brink of death many times. So I continued studying all the sciences, engineering, and more for over 25 years. Eventually, I saw, like, hey, this is actually possible. We can build New Atlantis. Yeah, really. So the vision wouldn't leave me. It called louder, build the ark. So I said yes. We sold our home. We got on a ship. And now we've traveled from, the northern parts of Lake Michigan all the way down here to as far south as you can go. But I realized we couldn't do this alone.
Yeah, no,
but together, we can build New Atlantis.
Take off something.
And today you are standing in the vision with me. It's divine timing that you are here.
Yeah.
So you desire to be free of the Matrix. But what is freedom anyways? Freedom is the ability to do what you want when you want to do it. And then liberty is having the resources to do what you want when you want to do it. So freedom and liberty go hand in hand. And to be truly free, you've got to have all 5 of the freedoms: the mental, the emotional, the physical, the financial, and the time. And I don't mention the spiritual freedom because your soul is already free. You just don't know it yet because you are a soul with a body, not a soul. So before any of the others, you have to start with the mental. What's between your ears? Is your mind racing with all these thoughts? Are you stuck in fear, worry, anxiety of the future? Like what's going to happen? Or are you depressed? You're looking at the past. And only by learning how to rein in and control your mind can you actually silence that monkey mind. And then you can be fully present in the now, aware, to where the truth replaces fear and you're able to think for yourself. And you can actually have a quiet up here. Like I can't even begin to describe how peaceful that is. You think when you need to. You think from the thought, not to it. And then you have the emotional freedom. You get to choose your attitude and how you emote. Most of you feel drained, hopeless. Your emotions are farmed by the news, trying to keep you angry and in fear all the time.
Always.
But once you rein in your mind, you can then start to take control of your emotional system, and you're just peace and calm most of the time. It doesn't mean you're not going to have things that upset you, but instead of let me use the example, like you're driving in traffic and somebody cuts you off, you have to slam on your brakes, and it's got your adrenaline going. Well, before most people, you're going to you're on your way to work, it pissed you off, you're going to be talking about that all day at work, and it's going to completely ruin your day for something that happened in 2 seconds. Or you can learn how to flip it around. And I go deeper in all this stuff in my book, Alchemy: The Master's Path, which I will gladly give you all for free when we get to the end of this. And you figure out how to reframe it in your mind and get to an attitude of gratitude. It's like, hey, maybe they stopped you from being in a wreck further ahead, or you were speeding and there's some police officer doing a unethical speed trap, and because that guy cut you off, he got you to slow down for a minute so you didn't get a ticket and really ruin your day. So once you get to that attitude of gratitude, you reset your emotional hormonal system.
Yes.
And it's the same way the next with the physical freedom. Most people are tired, exhausted,
burned out.
You're eating poison food, you're not filtering your water, and it's really hard to stay in a good mood when your body doesn't feel good. So you've got to purify your environment. You got to eat better food. You got to do whatever you can And that's why we're at the sea, because I am
Ew.
extremely sensitive. You know, having fought for every breath I take a large portion of my life, you know, with horrible allergies and asthma and food allergies I didn't even know I had till many years later. So, you know, now I'm down over 100 pounds.
Yeah, you are actually. You shrunk a lot. Like this shirt was so.
Oh,
tight.
I couldn't even get
Like,
this shirt on at
oh,
once. Like I had to shrink to even get into the shirt and then keep shrinking.
Oh, good job, honey. Wow.
So she was just complimenting me
Yeah.
earlier. I'm starting to turn into the man she, you know, saw inside when I,
Yes, when we the zine moment, there's potential. I saw that. Yes, I did.
so you got to have the mental, the emotional, the physical freedom.
Discipline to manifest.
Mhm. Yeah, you got to take complete personal responsibility, because without the personal responsibility and the discipline, you can't be free. Those are what give you the freedom, and it's what most people try and avoid, but not you, because you're smarter. The people watching, they're here.
Yeah.
They're smarter.
They are?
They wouldn't be watching if they weren't
Ah.
smarter.
Well.
So
Oh yes, you're right. Yes.
back to topic. So the next one, you know, is your financial freedom. You know, if you're just trading time for money, you're never going to get there. You have to have assets. You have to get out of the dollar. You know, we did the Bitcoin versus gold showdown yesterday. You can still do a little bit Bitcoin. I would say, you know, 1 to 5% of your portfolio max. And of course, this is, you know, not financial, medical advice or any of the other disclaimers, legal advice. This is just what I've done, what I've been able to transform. Like, we invest in real estate, so that's what keeps us going day to day. And, you know, we're down here in Key West to hopefully get some more waterfront as we're working on getting the HIP system to market.
Yes.
So you got to figure out what works for you. There's so many different ways, and I do have done, you know, classes and taught other people how to invest in real estate so they can get out of the rat race, and help quite a few over the years. You know, get to where you're not just paying rent to a landlord, you get to be the landlord. And yes, we know the government's still stealing your money with property tax, but you factor all those numbers in so you have cash flow and you get the tax write-offs so you can not pay taxes legally. So, you know, the things you can do now, get into physical precious metals, gold, silver is the most asymmetric trade with the most upside, commodities, oil, real tangible things that the government can't print. That's why people like Bill Gates are buying farmland.
Yes.
So you've got to do some different things to build here. And then once you have assets and you're not just trading life for hours that are, you know, stealing your life away, because you either got to build your dreams or you're building somebody else's.
Yes.
You know, you get your time back. And as you earn more money, you start paying people to do things. Like, we pay people to clean the apartments now, which we used to do ourselves.
Yes. So Andrew.
I
Confirming.
I did, you know, quite a bit of the remodeling on the apartment complexes. Now we have maintenance people there to do the things. And it's like you start to get time to live, to love, and build a legacy.
And work on the mission. Yes.
Exactly. So why is it so hard to be free on land? Because of the deep state and Federal Reserve. Now, what is the deep state? These are the unelected bureaucrats, bankers, and the Federal Reserve who actually run the government. The people you vote for isn't doing anything, and especially on the left. The left just, you know, they with the mail-in ballots, they just cheat and put in whatever puppet they want. And the amount of fraud in the system is more than just about anybody can comprehend. And, you know, we might be able to save America. And it was right on the edge of the cliff at the 2024 election. And had we got communist Kamala, you know, we'd already be in martial law and people would be starving across the country already.
Thank God, no.
Yeah, people have fun here in Cuba. So, you've got the unelected bureaucrats and things, and there are people trying to work and make it better, but it's really hard to fix it from within the system.
Yes.
And the deep state, these are your hidden rulers of the matrix, the shadow bosses. They're the ones who feed on your fear, your worry, anxiety, getting you to waste your God-given creative imaginative energy on their things so they can keep you, they keep you with the taxes, steal your wealth and your energy, and it just keeps you weak. The news keeping you in a state of fear and anxiety, so you're easy to control. And the news, was it over 90% of the news is controlled by 6 corporations controlling your perspective?
Really?
Yeah, it's really scary when you.
Hey, can you tell us who are they?
You can Google all
Yes,
this
Google.
stuff, and that's side topic. You'll get like your Time Warner, your Disney are huge sections. So then you've got, your bankers with the usury trying to keep you in the crushing debt. And the fact that credit cards can charge 30%
Oh my God.
is just insane.
Insane.
So if you have $100,000 in debt, you're paying $30,000 a year just in interest payments that you're not getting anything for. And, then you get the government rules on top of rules that are, most of them are unconstitutional, violating, how you can live your life and what you can do with your property, especially the zoning and all that. Like, I understand wanting, some simple inspections to make sure it's a safe dwelling while it's being built. But, after that, it's your home or your business, and the government has no right to be there. So these systems are all designed to drain your energy.
Yeah.
Because they do this because tired humans obey. They want you small, exhausted, weak, and obeying, because tired people don't fight back. They don't stand up for what is right. They're like, oh, I'm exhausted just living. I get one day off a week working my 2 or 3 jobs, and that's just enough to do my laundry and get a nap so I can go back to work next week.
Yes, I've done that.
Right on, sister. I've been there too, especially when I was in Colorado, outdoors
those are
after
the
that.
days of the full-time job.
So I know you've done a lot of the inner work. You pray, you meditate, you breathe, you journal, and these are beautiful things that, tune up your engine to keep you moving. But the inner freedom isn't enough to thrive in a sick world. You can't out-meditate taxes. They're still going to steal from you. You can't out-breathe when they're poisoning the air around you in the big cities. You can't out-pray a corrupt jurisdiction, especially in areas like New York and Cali, where, like, when we were going through the Erie Canal, we had several people tell us they had to become a Democrat and lie that they're a Democrat just so they could get a job.
It's insane.
So you don't even really know how many is, people who believe in the tyranny, the socialism, the communism, the fascism is all far left. And then you get to the center. That's where most of the Republicans are. And then you have the far right is your anarchy and freedom. That's how the actual political scale goes. So, but the deep state and things, they control the land, but they do not control the high seas. And to be free, you must live in a free jurisdiction. This is God's jurisdiction, and New Atlantis is the natural extension of the American dream. As our founding fathers stated in the Declaration of Independence, we all have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And, you really don't have the liberty in the states that we did, that our fathers and grandfathers did. Your rights are constantly being taken away and reduced. And the fact they're trying to legislate away nature and control nature itself is just corrupt and evil. The rules have gotten twisted. We got to take the dream, the American dream, to the water. We got to keep it pure, where we're all one. We're all connected. you, me, her, the ocean, the stars. When you hurt, I hurt. When you are free, I am freer. That's why I'm building this. Not just for me, for us. For the divine inside of you, because we are all divine sovereign beings. Now, I understand you're like, Captain, I love freedom, but floating islands? Will it sink?
Yeah.
Will storms break it?
Safe. Safe.
Is it safe? Is it real? And the ocean's a big place. It's scary. But, remember my vision I told you about earlier, the honeycomb. I turn this vision into real science, and I call it the HIP system. And remember, I told you, get back to that. Hexagonal interlocking pillars. Because there is nothing hipper than a hip. So let me keep this simple. Bees build in a hexagon shape because it's the strongest, most efficient shape in nature. We took what God designed and engineered it to work on the ocean, kind of like Superman's Fortress of Solitude in the Arctic. And points on if all the crystal work from Krypton and stuff, but neither here nor there. So the hexagon is our strongest shape. We designed it to work on the ocean. It locks tight. You can sonically weld these and seal these, making the whole islands one solid structure. So instead of a boat like this that's rocking with the waves, you are spread out over vast different distances, and the waves just smash along the edges. The idea is to make them over a mile in diameter, which means in a typical boat, you can handle a wave 1/3 of the length of the boat without tipping over. So with an island built 1 mile in diameter, it can take an 1,800-foot wave and not flip over. And there's actually small gaps in these designed to work like a grate on a drain in the streets. So even if you do have big enough water waves to crash over the side, you're floating and it's going to lift up as the water is draining out. So it's completely safe. Something, a 10, 20-foot wave isn't even going to move your bottle of wine.
Wow, it's better than on land.
Absolutely. So, and the platforms are like your giant floating Lego blocks, made of this shape. The material is what's known as GFRP, glass fiber reinforced polymer. So it's basically mixing fiberglass with your plastic bottles and getting to recycle and clean up trash. So not only were we building something new that's not going to rust or rot or decay, it's float, it locks, it grows, but we're cleaning up the environment. It's twice the strength of steel at 1/4 the weight. One platform starts the islands, then we attach another and then another, and boom, pretty soon we have a city. And each island will make their clean water from the sea with my plans for combination hydroelectric desalination plants. We'll be able to grow foods hydroponically without the poisons. And because we're separating the fresh water from the salt water, you're going to create saltwater brine. So it's a saltier water with more minerals in it. So using, not to get into big words, you basically just, it's electrolysis. You shock it with electricity with specific types of metal on each side, and I can extract the gold, the lithium, the uranium, the silver, the magnesium, and other things directly from the saltwater brine to have the islands earning an income that will pay dividends back to the citizens. Kind of like, Alaska's deal with the oil companies where everybody gets a check from the government instead of you paying the government. Like, government should be like a company. It needs to provide services and stuff like that to the people. And, the islands will be stormproof. You don't have to build it. We're going to do the hard work. You're just going to have to step onto it. It's going to be stable. It'll be a rock in the wave, safe for your kids. It's real engineering, not a dream. This is safety. This is strength. And this is sovereignty made real. So, okay, it floats. But what about the people? Will it be chaos? What about pirates?
Yeah, all those things. Yeah.
No. You know, a free society needs clear agreements. We're not talking about pure anarchy where there are no rulers and it's just chaos. We're talking more voluntary societies where you have a small, tiny government that, you know, keeps the people sovereign, and because it can't tax you, it can't grow too big for its britches. It's got to provide services like water and energy to earn any revenue, and it won't be able to go in debt, so it can't inflate away your money. So with New Atlantis, you know, there will be a constitution. You know, this will be our promise to you that the government is small, by us, for us. You know, no taxes, no income tax, no property tax, no sales tax, no capital gains tax, no government spying on you left and right through your cell phones and everything else. You know, no external entity owning you. You get your freedom of spirit, your mind, your movement, and your trade, and to work as you see fit. And unlike the American Constitution, and I would love if, you know, we do a constitutional convention and they adopt this, with New Atlantis, we're going to have a Bill of Rights and Responsibilities. So I'm not going to go through all of it. You'll be able to take a look at that here later and read it yourself. But you're going to have things like freedom of speech. You know, you have the right to say what you want, but you also have the responsibility to speak truth, to use your words to promote the well-being of others and foster harmony.
Or speak your truth, your observation.
Yeah. So your right to bear arms is absolute. You know, not only do you have the right to defend yourself, you have the responsibility to defend those around you.
Yes.
Like with everybody being able to defend themselves, you have whole communities. You're not going to have to deal with the occasional little pirate. And it reminds me of Rifle, Colorado, where at the restaurants, the ladies have pistols on their hips.
Ooh.
Grab their ass and see what happens. So you might get pistol whipped.
Oh.
You know, they don't have to worry about the crime because everybody in the area is able to defend themselves. And the big one, you know, the right to property. So like when you buy a parcel of land on New Atlantis, you have an alloidal title, ensuring your personal sovereignty over the space. So you're free and clear of any rents, no taxes, no eminent domain able to steal your property down the road. And then you have your responsibility to, you know, maintain your property in good cosmetic and structural condition. Okay, so, you know, in the Matrix, you have rules. Here with New Atlantis, you have rights with backbone. And finally, you'll have the citizen contract. Because how can you have a voluntary society if you didn't agree to the rules that everybody goes by? You know, you promised to be a good neighbor. You promised to do no harm. We promised to keep the platform floating and, you know, provide clean water. It's not lawless. We're self-governed. We are sovereign adults acting like adults. Freedom without order is chaos. Order without freedom is slavery. This is the middle path. You know, as Buddha would say, or we natives, it's a good red road. It'll create something sane, lasting for the next 1,000 years. Now, here's the click. The moment that breaks the chains. You are not stuck because you are weak. You are stuck because the land is owned by other masters. To be free, you need a free jurisdiction. And the high seas is the last free place on earth. Because while I love the dreams of people like Elon going to Mars, we got to go to the sea before we go to the stars. And New Atlantis fulfills the American dream. It finishes it. It's a natural extension of the American dream. You know, New Atlantis is not against America. It's the evolution beyond it. Finishing what the founders started. You know, look at the horizon. Now I want you to imagine in your mind's eye white platforms rising from the sea, steady, warm under your feet, you know, solar panels gleaming, hydroponic gardens green with food, kids running around barefoot, no worries or fear. The family's laughing. There is no crime. You own your land outright. There's no taxes, no fear. The air is pure. The water is sweet because it's clean. You get to sleep like a baby because there is nothing to worry about. You wake up smiling. Your spirit is whole. And the whole community gets to see the divinity within you. And you have a legacy for your grandkids. You get to tell them, I helped build the ark that set us free. Your spirit opens, your divinity is remembered, your lineage protected. This is real. This is engineering. This is universal law that is happening now. Now I want to ask you, do you believe you were born free? Do you feel the system is broken? Do you agree the land is controlled when you have to pay taxes on it and you don't really own it? Do you agree freedom needs free ground? Do you feel the ocean calling? Now, there's a storm coming to the land. America's on the brink of civil war. We are, as Ray Dalio talks about, there's 5 types of war, and we are in 4 of the 5 with China and all 5 with Russia at the moment. And I'm hoping we can, get
some within too in this country apparently too.
Yeah, like the hate and everything spreading through is just
speaking your truth.
It's insane. Yeah, you say, hey, this area looks like a third world country because it does, especially for somebody who's been to a lot of third world countries. And she got attacked on that one yesterday. It was quite funny. But, it's such as life. So you can feel, in your gut that, things are changing. The system's starting to collapse. The banks are on the point. There was just another bank that collapsed in Oklahoma a week or so ago. And everybody that had more than the $250,000 got a haircut. An IOU from the bank. The bank stole your money with the bail-in instead of getting a bailout. So you've got a choice today, a sovereign choice. It decides your legacy. Will you stay in the trap because it's easy, stuck in the rat race? Or will you be one of the founders who build the ark, getting to say, I saved our family line? So with New Atlantis, what you'll get is a path out of the matrix. You'll be able to buy land that's, in a safe, tax-free jurisdiction. You get to claim your sovereignty and have a community that honors your divinity. And you have a bright future for your kids. So at this point, you've got the choice. Are you going to stay in the trap or are you going to build the ark? Now, I know, a lot of you don't have huge money in your back pocket to, spend a couple $1 million to get your parcel of land and be one of the first. Yeah. So for those of you who aren't ready to move yet or don't have the resources, you can join the New Atlantean Society for free. So go to newatlantisdevelopments.com/New Atlantean Society and get to join for free. You're going to learn sovereign thinking. You're going to be with a like-minded community. You're going to get free training and conventions. And let me put the link in here for you. So, and we'll show that there. So you can go to newatlantis.com, New Atlantis Society, join for free. And enjoy life, get to learn and be better. And if, for the brave, if you want to go to the next level, we've got 22 slots for the founders where you get to own the ocean. Yes. You'll get to help shape the nation and the laws as it's being formed. You'll get a higher portion of the dividends from minerals as we get to mine the saltwater brine. And you'll get to put your name in history as one of the people who built the ark. And that you just go to newatlantisdevelopments.com, contact us, and line up a call, have a conversation, let me know if you're interested. So for all of you, join the society, and if you're interested in more, let us know.
Let us know, guys.
So now I'll get, if you have any legitimate questions and not just some of these rude people that are the left that jumped on. So first we got Alex Monero. He's like, I can personally testify to your success story. I remember having you on Facebook years ago. So there you go. Thank you, dude.
Thank you.
Hi there, Glenn.
Yeah, we did help a lot of people.
Yeah, and I will always keep helping people. And yes, it really will be able to handle an 1,800-foot wave. It's physics. The bigger and longer the structure is in all directions, the more it will be able to handle without flipping over. Doesn't mean an 1,800-foot wave would be comfortable, but the way these are designed is at full scale when we start building houses and other buildings, is they're going to be able to handle the category 6 and 7 hurricanes that are getting ready to start coming, where it'll handle 300 plus mile an hour winds without falling over or breaking. It's like having a home completely built out of steel, but much lighter. So, yeah, when you get to bigger structures, like look on cruise ships, you can go through normal waves that would have a smaller boat rocking, and your wine is not going to spill. We're talking several times larger than cruise ships in all directions. And Glenn Katz said, I think she's beautiful, referring to my honey here. So.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And, you got some of the people, talking about this is dumb shit. And it's like, hey, if you're not smart enough to understand the physics, that's okay.
Yeah. You gotta understand. Physics and science.
And this lady, she speaks English, she speaks Russian, a little bit of Arabic, some Greek, some Latin.
Yeah, just not fluently.
And okay, somebody asked, any laws about swinging? Of course, there's swinging.
Swinging.
Yeah, hey, people do it's you're gonna do what you want. Like, yeah, we're not
participating in swinging.
Well, no, not you.
What is this?
It's freedom. People get to do what they want. This is
well,
not about you personally.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's not personal. Nothing personal. They can do whatever they want.
So you can totally, do what you want. Yeah, of course, we're going to make sure we keep the pedophiles and stuff away. But, you're an adult. What you do, the government has no right to tell you what you do in your bedroom with consenting adults.
Yeah.
Nor, what you're doing in your business and your wallet. The whole idea is to keep the government out of your bedroom and your business. And somebody asked you, wait, you're native? What percentage? Well, I am 25% native. My dad is a half-blood. The tribes are Blackfoot, Iroquois, specifically Seneca and Mohawk.
Yeah, you're different out of the mind.
And, if you want to grow your flower, you can do that. And cannabis is a very healing plant, and government has no right to regulate nature. We will have people fishing the land. And one of the coolest things about building on the ocean compared to building on land is when you build on land, you have to destroy ecosystems. You're wiping out all the trees, the plants, and the animals to build it. But when you're building on the water, you're actually creating new ecosystems for the fish and the algae and everything else. Well, you would have, you see the boats and the docks, and you see how the barnacles and the clams will attach to the posts you see at your docks. So you'll be able to build and expand. You'll be able to create shade. Yeah. You'll have areas where, the fish can hide and move.
Yeah.
So you're actually creating new ecosystems.
True.
So let's see. I'm
It's main
looking.
ones. There's so many. I see you scrolling through.
Well, yeah. You got a couple rude people that
Oh,
saw your post yesterday and just hopped on.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Somebody was trying to say you can't speak English,
I
and it was just being rude. And I'm not gonna even indulge those people. So no, I'm with this presentation. I've worked on it for months. I did utilize for some of the editing Akbar AI to give me some thoughts to follow Russell Brunson's perfect webinar.
yes.
And then
Akbar, you go, guy.
yeah, I kept
Akbar's
rewriting
cool.
it by hand over and over
Thank
and
you.
over again. It was a little distraction. I wasn't gonna have her sitting beside me here because I wanted to like really focus, but it's a good humanizing because I can seem a bit like a robot myself sometimes because I'm not as emotionally triggered as the average person is.
Yes, you can get sometimes.
There is no pyramid scheme. You know, when you own your parcels of land, you will have a Lloydal title.
It's yours.
Yeah, it's yours. You can pass it down to your kids. No taxes, no nothing. And while we would like to build, 200 nautical miles out and build a completely tax-free independent country, I'm also totally open if we could work a deal out with Trump to, and DeSantis and, build off the coast of Florida a few miles and create a territory like Puerto Rico. Because in Puerto Rico, you don't have the taxes either.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot of this without going as far and, open up more, build more waterfront land for people. So, and let me see. So, and I really feel bad for the people that are rude, and Glenn saying, freedom is very important. And unfortunately, I don't know if we can save America because a lot of people don't believe in freedom anymore. They just, want to hate and eat the rich. They're mad at their betters because they're not doing well, and they want to play the victim and hate instead of taking personal responsibility for your life so that you can transform your own life. Because only by taking personal responsibility can you truly transform your life. So, let's see. Hey, Dylan.
Oh, hi, Dylan.
So, as far as Key West,
Hi, Dylan.
we have seen.
Hi, Amanda.
We were at Stock Island, at the Ocean. What was it? Ocean Bay.
Jew Basin.
No, the marina.
Oceanside Marina Resort.
Oceanside Marina Resort. Beautiful place, multiple
Yes.
pools, very nice. And the restaurant
Yes.
was a little.
It's like mini
scammy.
paradise.
But the
Resort.
second you got out of that little gated community,
I was shocked.
it went down to trailer parks, and like you saw some of the buildings where like trash was piled all the way to the top of the trailers. And I just thought it, reminded me of things like the east side of Cleveland and just really poor poverty areas. But she's, was saying it reminded her of being in third world countries like Thailand.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
hello there, Amanda. Yep, we're doing well.
Oh, doing good. The storm last night was intense. It was so windy. Getting here was so windy.
Any picture concept here? Let me pull this up for
video.
Yes, I actually have a short 90-second video I can show you. It'll take me just a moment to pull it up to give you guys an idea of what we are looking to build. Just a sec here. So we will share our screen. And we're going to do this tab and share. So, okay, this is give you some visuals of what we're looking to do with the hexagonal interlocking pillar system. From manufacturing size, we can do these anywhere from like 1 inch diameter to about a foot in the diameter before the manufacturing costs start going through the roof. So they can be used to build anything from houses with, simple, you can do it with robotic automation, unskilled labor, and we can actually build housing that's affordable instead of affordable housing.
The material.
The GFRP, glass fiber reinforced polymer. So as you can see, you can build floating docks, you can build smaller floating structures. This was an idea, building something on Lake Erie, what I wanted to do for the full-size model, build a 50 by 50 platform, put some sand on it, anchor it down in the middle of Lake Erie and call it, beachfront property.
Yeah. That's initially we wanted to do that, like you.
Mm-hmm. And then here is a visual of the full-size island. Let me go back here a little bit. So you would see your typical shipyards, being able to trade things back and forth. You would have the minerals from the saltwater brine. You would have your houses and buildings and marinas. The idea for the pyramid, because if you actually understand the pyramids, it's 8-sided, not just 4. So you would have the water and the saltwater brine flowing down from the sides after getting pumped up from below. Full-size commercial airports. And this just gives you...
You have more greenery, like more green.
Well, this was something a friend did years ago. I need to get a better video for that. Let me...
Definitely better representation, yeah.
So...
But it's the concept, yeah.
Yeah, this gives you... So... That gives you a little bit to see what we're doing, and we're going to go have fun, enjoy the day, and go play here in the Key West. Hopefully we'll see some nice boats that are decorated for Christmas, and we can give some prizes. It was definitely not the way we expected things to be, but we are still glad we're here. We've made the journey. We succeeded. Going all the way from Green Bay, Wisconsin to Key West. So this is Jedi and Anna signing off. We'll see y'all later.
Peace and love.